Good evening. It is Thursday at 9 p.m. and that can mean only one thing, that the UK Colts fans are live. I am Harrison. You can find me at UK Colts fans at bsky.social. Excuse me. Find us on threads at UK Colt fans, and we are also on. Some of us are on X and other media platforms. And God, great start. As I wait for the co-host to join, should be along very soon. We've been away for a couple of weeks, just as a God, great time to have a coffee bit. We have been away for a couple of weeks just to rest and reset from the season. It's always nice at the end of the season to just chill out, just take it all in. It was a long old season for Colts fans, not for good reasons. Some highs in there, but a lot to discuss and a lot of lows, but a lot to look at going forward, I suppose. The NFL Combine is currently underway in Lucas Oil. If I just get this up, let's have a look. Started, I believe it was special teams today. I should really do this stuff before we go live, but yeah, so the NFL Combine is currently underway in Indianapolis. So there's stuff to talk about there. I'm not going to be doing mock drafts just yet because there's still plenty of time to go. And I believe everyone mock drafts and more drafts every year, and everyone's an expert, and this person to take that person, etc. I think the Colts are a pretty solid fit for Tyler Warren at God, where are we picking again? 15. I've been out of football for a little bit, so it's getting back into it. That would be my personal pick anyway. We need an offensive weapon. We need a tight end. Coming up, we do have articles from each of the UK Colts fans contributors, me, Robbie, Nathan, and Elliot, on what success for the UK Colts fans, not for us, on what success for certain parts of the Colts production would need to be next year. So what does success look like for our new defensive coordinator, Lou? Robbie's going to be doing one for the tight end room because he's big on his tight ends. I'm going to be doing Shane and Chris, and Elliot's going to be doing the Colts in general. So a lot of content coming and stuff to look forward to. They'll be over on our Patreon, but it's all free. Don't worry, you don't have to sign up or anything. It's all free for now. So just while we get the show up and running, let's talk about the Super Bowl. Didn't watch it. It was the first Super Bowl I haven't stayed up for in a long time. I was too tired. I was a bit ill at the time, so I didn't really want to stay up. I had no vested interest in the teams, but obviously congratulations to Isaiah Rodgers, Nick Sirianni, and there's someone else. I can't remember who, and an ex-former Colt who are winners of the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. Thought the halftime show was good. That's about it, really. No, it was a very good and convincing win for the Eagles. You know, I don't think there wasn't written off. There wasn't massive underdogs. They were not the favourites, I'd say. I don't know, Chiefs fans, as we know, we had a Chiefs fan on, I'm sure we'll get it on at some point in the off-season, was very confident of winning. But I suppose they've earned the right to be. But the Eagles and Nick Sirianni come in there and went, no, it's not happening. And I think his biggest strength, Nick Sirianni, is knowing when to delegate. And it really helps him a lot. I've seen articles on calls to ban the tush push, the brotherly, whatever you want to call it. It's a scrum. For anyone over this side of the pond or anyone who's watched rugby union will know it's just a good old-fashioned scrum. I don't really get. I'm sure Nathan, being the resident Welshman, can expand on that massively, but I don't get the calls to ban it. You've got to learn how to stop it. It's just you just got to mirror and do it back as soon as they go. You've got it's not that hard to stop. If I was a defensive coordinator and I saw that, I'd just go, okay, we do the same back. Defensive lines tend to be bigger than, barring a couple of exceptions, defensive lines tend to be bigger. You could definitely push back. I don't get the. I think you just have to find a way to stop it, because once you stop it, it's like Man City going on a 16-game winning streak. It felt inevitable until this season, where people learn how to stop them. So more teams do it, and now they seem very vulnerable. I'll put my notes here. Sorry. Yeah, so what we'll talk about is the shocks and disappointments of this season. Shocks can be good or bad. The surprises and the wins for the season, combine and draft talk, and then we'll round out with general chat on what's coming up. I will say with the combine, it's great, it being in Lucas Oil Stadium. There's something about it that just feels right. I got to hope it doesn't get moved away, but it feels like a good fit for the city and for the combine. Excuse me. Pat McAfee was there, speaking to and helping out with the special teamers. Had his stopwatch out. So, is there something there to look at for the Colts? Probably not, but Pat's obviously got the ear of Chris and Jim, and having the ear of Chris and Jim instantly gives him the ear of Shane. He's well respected by Rigoberto. So he might be talking to him. Listen, it wasn't. Rigoberto had a solid year. Chase, on the other hand, not great. Yeah. And a modern day NFL kicker. And it's easy for me to say this, right? Sitting here, sat on my chair, no pressure at all. But they have to be making consistent 50-yarders. Indoors, especially if you're an indoor team, when you're at home, you have to be making 50-yarders consistently. And throughout the year, whether due to injury or much else, it's just not gone that way for him. We can also talk about the quarterback situation. There's a long time to talk about that. Again, for me, I don't see the point of wasting an extra jersey slot on a third quarterback this season. It just feels like a waste. Have one backup and then put the other one on the practice squad. Simple as that. And now joining me God, I can't speak today. Now joining me is co-host, the Welshman, who's here to talk about the famous rugby play in American football. It's taking over. It is currently the Six Nations, so I won't bring that up. Is Nathan? There we go.
Yeah, please don't bring up Six Nations. Well, I mean, Wales played really well this weekend, but we certainly didn't start playing well. So yeah, let's leave the rugby for another day. But hello, sorry I'm late. I had some technical issues, which are now over.
That's fine, mate. It's fine. I was just going through content, really. What's coming up? What's happened? You know. So I was just talking about the articles we've got coming up that we're going to release.
Yeah.
A quick, like 30 seconds on the Super Bowl and the Combine, which has started today, I believe. So it's probably going to be no one interested today for us. Probably special teamers, like 6th, 7th rounders, I think.
I think it's D-line and tight end today.
That is interesting for us.
I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I know a lot of D linemen were getting interviewed today, and Tyler Warren got interviewed today. So I imagine they're going to be testing probably late this evening for UK fans. But yeah, I think that's definitely something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. two positions that I think will certainly be in the hunt for.
So before we get into Combine and draft talk, we left off. We've had a couple of weeks off. I think it's good to have a couple of weeks off to compartmentalize. That's my new favorite word at the minute. Compartmentalize the season and just put the heart, feelings, and vibes away and look at it with clear and not emotional goggles. So just straight off the bat, maybe in a couple of sentences, mate. Looking back at the 2024 season, what was the biggest win and what was the biggest loss for the Colts?
I think win is, some of, some Colts players. I think had a big win. I think finally Ballard has, quite vocally realised that, he hasn't built a competitive roster. He's been very open in how, stubborn his team building kind of skills have been. But I think that said, the players who really elevated their game this year are very, very safe. We're talking people who, could be on second contracts. I think, it's interesting you've asked me this question because about an hour ago, the Kansas City Chiefs franchise tagged Trey Smith. So one of the biggest wins of the Colts is Will Fries, because right now he's probably the most attractive guard on the market. So I think, if I'm Ballard, I'm getting that done before I even leave, the Combine. Biggest loss was the question, yeah? The other side of the question, biggest loss. I think hope, genuinely. That's quite a deep answer. But the loss of hope that I had to kind of battle with last year was pretty insane. Elliot, who is involved in UK Colts fans, he'd asked me to write an article for a kind of pre-season booklet, and I had the Colts being 11-6, I think, from memory. Look how far away we were from that. I just think the biggest loss is truthfully, I think our biggest stories last year were more off the field, and that's not a winning product.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was just checking something out. No, it's. I think for me, the biggest disappointment was the lack of development for Anthony Richardson. And obviously, that's a two-party statement. Himself, he didn't. He's done himself a massive disservice by not developing himself this year, and he's proving the wrong people right, and that's what fucks me off. Pardon the language, but that really annoys me from the people around him. Need to do better.
Yeah,
need to do better because I tell you what, if I was 21, you know, and I've just become a starting quarterback in the NFL, I'm probably in the same headspace. I'm not gonna lie. I'm big fur coat on the sidelines. I got my Ray-Bans on.
Yeah. You just know, made 30 million, you know? You're the man.
You don't have to work, work another day in your life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely not going to hold that against a kid. I'm going to hold it against the people around him and his coaching staff. I think it was you put in, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think you put in the group, he's gone working with Josh Allen and his quarterback coach or throwing coach, however you want to put it. And I've had an interesting thought on this because we've been brought up differently, and it's a little bit different where you trust the staff that's given to you. You know, I suppose our sporting talents are brought up through academies rather than collegiate teams. So there's not that chopping and changing, really. There's not that transfer portal. And the example I know is Arsenal's goalkeeping coach, Inaki. Oh God, I can't say his name. He is going to be working with the Arsenal goalkeeping team through essentially 6 years of age up to 35, if he's there that long.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just a bit weird to me that he's like, not just Anthony specific and not just quarterbacks, but he's like, I've got to go and work with this guy and this will make it all right. And it's just like, are you putting a little bit too much emphasis on this one person's a magical guru who knows how to throw a football?
I think it's a great debate point, really. I mean, you know, we know that teams are kind of hamstrung by, you know, you can only spend so much time in the facility in the off season. And look, I think, you know, Josh Allen and Anthony have been such a comparable product, you know, and it's not right to compare players. You know, we know that from all sports that we follow, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, this is our favorite sport of all, and it happens a lot in this sport. And I think when you look at Josh, you know, comes into a Bills team, has the accuracy issues, but has the, you know, the magic power, that flash every game where you just can't believe what's happened. Now, Anthony's basically the same. I know that the health issues are really, you know, I think are the overarching worry for me. But look, I don't think it's going to be a bad thing that a guy that, you know, we all want to be our franchise quarterback goes with kind of a magician, as you've said. That's the reputation that this guy's got. But not only that, you know, Anthony's mechanics are going to be getting direct coaching, and I believe, you know, he's been. I was reading reports earlier, doing some homework for this. He's been training since the 20th of January. You know, he's locked in from what his agent is saying. To bring Josh into that as well, I think is an insane opportunity for potential to come, because Josh is going to be able to, you know, just empathize on an emotional level I think it's going to be massively tough to kind of, Anthony's got a cannon. We all know that.
Yeah.
And having someone basically tell you this isn't good enough, you're not going to be in the league next year if we don't start fixing things. I bet that's really tough for a kid to take. It's tough for any sportsman, sportswoman, anyone, any athlete at that high of a level to be told we've got to go back to basics must be tough. So yeah, I'm really excited that Josh is going to literally be there throwing balls with him. I think it's a massive opportunity.
And I think for me, this is where I'm so I think the right word is disappointment or disappointed. I'm so disappointed in Shane and Joey Flacco this year. Because there was just nothing between them two. You could see it on the sidelines. They didn't want to be next to each other. And you're there as the veteran to, you think, right, I'm a veteran. I've got this 1 year deal. It's $4 million. That's my kids going to Harvard. Don't care. I've made my money. Maybe I get 1 more year, but I know I'm not playing. I'm here to be a locker room guy. And he just wasn't from day one. Joe Flacco, I mean, he could come out and completely just obliterate this opinion, but for me, he's gone in there day one thinking, I could, yeah. I'm not here to help this kid. Whether that was all on Joe Flacco or Anthony's sort of like, I'm not listening to this guy. Why am I listening to this guy? It's maybe a tell-all 60 minutes will come out one day after we've gone on to win 15 Super Bowls in the next 17 years.
I think you make an interesting point though, because I think it's become quite public this off season. When you're listening to your Orlovskis, your Rappaports, etc. Flacco wants to play. He took the Browns to the playoffs. There was this huge buzz around Joe Flacco. People were saying, can he be, can he kind of emulate Brady and be a starter playing at a really high level again? We got that comparison problem there again. But I think that's tough to then, go to a team who's got this just, barrel of potential, sitting there looking for his first full season in the league. I think Joe was probably pissed off with that. He looks like a competitor. He, at this point, is playing for 1 year deals. He certainly didn't do himself any justice. I wouldn't be signing Joe Flacco if I'm a GM.
No. I mean, is it too simplistic to say, like, if I'm Anthony Richardson and I'm in Indianapolis, there's been some fucking good quarterbacks that I play for Indianapolis, I can tell you. Gardner Minshew being one of them, but, there are some absolutely legendary quarterbacks that have played for this team.
Yeah.
Hall of Famers, Super Bowl winners, best rookies ever. So for me, if I'm Anthony Richardson and I'm sitting there, I'm going, right, what do I really need to work on? I could go and ring Andrew. I could work on my IQ, my strength, my running, when to pull it, when to throw it. That was Andrew's ability, was his cleverness. John Gruden still can't stop talking about him to this day. I could ring Peyton, go and learn how to control the team, control the huddle. I could ring Philip Rivers, go and learn how to throw the check downs, how to get it on my hands quick. Let's go. For me, that's where I would be looking rather than. It's like me going to Nathan. Yeah, I've got a mate. He's great at rugby. You need to come and listen to him. And you're like, well, why am I going to go and listen to Harrison's mate when Alan Wynne-Jones lives next door?
I love that reference. Yeah.
Let's be just to clear, Alan Wynne is one of my favourite players of all time as a former second rower. But is it just too simplistic to go? You've got it on your doorstep. You don't need. I don't think. I suppose it's like you say, it's a debate, and we'll never know. But I don't think it's a attribute thing. I don't think he's got bad accuracy. I just think he's in his own head, and we've seen it with players and just all competitions in all sports. As soon as you get in your own head, you take an extra touch, you wait an extra second, and it can be inches and milliseconds, and you just go. So I don't think he needs to do this, and I think there might just be too much emphasis on doing this.
I think with this one, like, you know, again, you know, we all watch our own stuff, we all read our own media, right? And you know, we all have our favorite kind of American experts on this stuff, and a lot of people talk about Anthony's mechanics, especially his legs and his feet. You know, people say he has happy feet at times, and we have definitely seen that even from our angles on Game Pass, you know. So these guys are there, you know, watching every single angle. And what I think you make a fascinating point, because what interests me is, you know, for anybody who's watching who's a Colts fan or a neutral fan, Ballard has now really cemented that there's going to be a competition at quarterback. So, you know, every play Anthony, every snap he takes, he's going to have to really work on his mental toughness, because it's almost like as if he can't take a risk. You know, when he throws that interception, it's, you know, oh, is the next guy going to come on? Or, you know, oh, bench Anthony, he's, you know, we lost a game.
Yeah.
And really, when, you know, you're looking at a defense that is, you know, 29th, 30th ranked overall, you're looking at a defense that leads the league in missed tackles. Can you really put it all on Anthony? I don't think you can. Yeah, he missed a lot of layups last year. You know, he missed those kind of moving the chain plays probably more regularly than you'd want.
Yeah.
But this idea of the quarterback competition, it does scare me, because I think innocently as a fan as well, you know, let's say they draft a rookie, right? It's been reported that the Colts have met with Quinn Ewers this week, today even, Texas quarterback. You know, he'll be basically, we're replacing Sammy Slinger with another Texas quarterback. So you're going to be a happy, chappy if you know, we like Longhorns in Indy, right? But again, it has a fan, it's the hope that kills you. So if Anthony comes out and, you know, we're dealing with injuries, we're dealing with missed layups, in the back of our heads, even the biggest Anthony fans are going to go, I wonder what Quinn can do.
Yeah.
You know, start the rookie. Let's see what the rookie can do. And it just doesn't help the scenario. And I'm going to try and convey that in, you know, my article that'll be coming out next week. But it just seems, I mean, if it's all or nothing, let it be all or nothing.
Yeah.
Because if the kid fails, he's gone anyway.
Yeah.
And if he fails or he gets hurt, he's gone anyway. So we can still be at the top of the draft in 2026. Who wouldn't want to be in that position? You know, I look at New York, right?
Yeah.
New York Giants and Jets, really. The Jets are worse, but the Giants winning that game against us has potentially set them back from, you know, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Not that these guys are going to be superstars, but even just the ability to make your choice. And if I'm Jim Irsay, and it's truly all or nothing. And next year, Anthony's gone, Shane's gone, Ballard's gone. I'd want to be the first overall pick,
Yeah,
so I
of
can
course.
say to my GM, "Go
There you
get
go.
whoever you want. Go pick wherever quarterback you want, or trade the pick. Let's think years ahead. Let's
Mhm.
really build through the draft." But that isn't the way it's going. So fascinating to see who the Colts bring in.
Yeah. Um, I think that's enough quarterback talk. Um,
Yeah.
for now, we got, like we say, we got a long way to go. Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about some what. Okay, so what's been the biggest surprise of this year? And I think I'll go first on this. Um, the good surprise for me has been Josh Downs again. Maybe not a surprise, but he keeps going the way I want him to go. And
Yeah.
yes, like fantastic. I love this kid. Um, and then maybe not so good a good surprise, but Braden Smith.
Yeah.
He's he. This is a bit of a messy one. He obviously he's been off this season. Personal, I believe, personal reasons. So not to pry. He said he wants to play next year, but the Colts are saying we're not sure. Do we think it's going to be Smith or Glowinski? Because Glowinski didn't have a glowing end of the season with us.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be worried with that because,
Mm,
Glowinski's got to move out to right tackle. I think the biggest contender for that position is Matt Gonzalez.
yeah,
I played that position last year. At the end of the season, started to play very well. And if Braden is cut, I believe we save something like 23 million in cap, which we can spend this year. That's
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 a lot of money.
huge money to bring a player in. And Braden is paid within the top 20 or top 15 right tackles in the league. Does he warrant that level of play? Debatable. He's a good player. He's a solid player. Um, and look, I think when these stories come out, life needs to come first.
Yeah,
Like we've said in previous episodes,
yeah,
we really wish Braden well, and we hope that wherever he's going through, he pulls through. But I think for Braden, you've got to think about life first.
yeah.
Sport second.
And I think that's what us personally, we always try and portray that. We're always big, like we say, and like I say, last bit of quarterback talk upon us, but if Anthony Richardson at 22, 23 is crawling around his bedroom because he can't walk, you can't play football, mate. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, just don't. And the same with Braden, the personal issues. The same with what Ryan Kelly and his wife went through. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Um, but yeah, so that's for me. For you, surprises of this year? Anything?
a surprise for me is how bad the tight end room was. I
Mm.
think you we could have walked into a betting shop, right? And I don't think we would have got those odds, at the start of last season. Um, that tight end room was non-existent and is non-existent.
Yeah,
Big Mo Ali Cox, for anybody watching, he when he is toyed with the idea of leaving, wants to go win. Fair enough.
good. Yeah,
Mo is a beast in the kind of blocking side of the game, and last year has really come up a few times making some key catches, especially when Richardson's scrambling, trying to make something happen. Mo's going Superman, catching balls, and that's I don't think that's what he wants to be doing. So, yeah, the tight end room. I mean, I could see the Colts taking two tight ends this draft. I think it's that bad.
Yeah.
I really do. I think, the year we took Fleener and Allen, I can see that coming again. Hopefully, Tyler Warren is the first name, suiting up for us at tight end, but I really can see two tight ends coming through the door.
Yeah. We're big advocates of tight ends, right? It's
kind of our DNA, isn't it?
But I don't think that, like, as much as we do it jokingly and a bit nonchalant and a bit of a laugh, before, so like you say, Fleener, Allen, Doyle, Clark, Ebron, these are all big, maybe not all like Hall of Fame names, but they're big names in the tight end world. And you probably ask any mid to late 20s tight ends, age-wise, who they watched, Dallas Clark would be one of them. You ask anyone a bit younger, and everyone's going to talk about, I know it's a lot to do with Andrew Luck, but everyone's going to talk about that Luck and Ebron connection. And even to a certain extent, Philip Rivers and Mo Alie-Cox, they had a really good connection. So I think you're right. I think for me, there's just been a lack of respect for, and maybe this is a bit of a whole team thing, but a lack of respect for where you are and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the defense now, and that's a perfect segue into defense. And there's something that makes me uncomfortable about seeing Zaire Franklin at the Pro Bowl. And not necessarily the fact that he has made it to the Pro Bowl, but why is it? And this would be anyone. Why is a team that was, what did we finish in, 8 and 9, 9 and 8? I can't remember.
Yeah.
The worst defense. People, maybe not technically, but it was the worst defense out there. Well, I don't care what anybody says. How is the linebacker of that worst defense at the Pro Bowl? And he's flexing and he's laughing like, mate, your season was atrocious. You got the most tackles in the league because we were bad. That's not.
We couldn't get off the field. Yeah,
I
couldn't stay on the field, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just, that attitude of like, we've achieved something, and he's laughing and joking with Peyton, and I'm like, you're talking to somebody who has actually won the Super Bowl once with us, and you're like, I'm in the same table as this guy, and it's just mind baffling. I mean, the Pro Bowl as a whole is a joke, really, and should be gone. But yeah, just your thoughts on that.
Honestly, that was Zaire's Super Bowl. It was. He plays for himself. Mm-hmm. He plays for. I genuinely believe that how he reacted to it. Last game of the season, doing all those signs to Pat McAfee. Booth, as you say, the way he was smug and flaunting at the Pro Bowl, that's that guy's Super Bowl. And unfortunately, that's one of the leaders of our team who is, meant to be taking us to the next level. So I think it goes back to a comment I made earlier. I genuinely believe that when Ballard was making the comments in his end-of-year presser about lack of competition, I think linebacker was position one in that area. I think Zaire knew that, as did EJ. They knew whatever we do, it's only us. So as long as we stay healthy, we're going to be on the field, unless we need some Gatorade, But look, it's an area of the coach that completely lackluster, especially in zone. It's an area that, again, I can see two faces coming through. One in free agency, and again, Ziyech's playing for snaps. This is someone who 2 years ago, Matt Eberflus, or 3 years ago, however long ago it was, Matt Eberflus wouldn't even let him on the field. He would only go on for third downs or something. Maybe we're seeing why.
Yeah.
Matt Eberflus was a damn good coach, damn good defensive coordinator anyway. So, yeah, I think that's my honest opinion is, Colts didn't win the Super Bowl, but Ziyech did.
Yeah, and listen, if the defense played lights out, and we're sitting here going, "Wow, fucking Gus Bradley's defense, man! Fuck, like we need to get a decent offense to help this defense." And he's still got the most tackles in the league, and 60% of them are a tackle for a loss. Then you go, yeah, fuck me, flaunt your shit, you fucking earned this. But you were, I sort of think like, okay, so Shaquille Leonard or Darius Leonard, he had that vibe about him. He was a bit of a class clown, a bit of a joker, but he earned the right to do it. Up until a career-ending back injury, which just killed everything for him, like, unfortunately, he earned the right to be that guy. And so he is sort of coming like, yeah, I'm that guy. And it's like, you're talking all this smack before week one. Oh, God, this is a long time ago now, before week one. And then you just get smacked up 400 yards. Like, yeah. We could talk about that all night,
but I think we can really bring it to life with just asking anyone who's watching this, just go have a look at the box score of the New York Giants game, where Drew Lock had a perfect passer rating. That sums up Ziyech's performance, because they battered us over the top of the field. And just before we do move on, I totally agree with your analysis around the Colts undervaluing the tight end position, because we ultimately have no threat over the middle of the field outside of Josh Downs. So if teams are covering, slants, crosses, meshes, we have zero threat over the middle, and that needs to change.
And I think you could even talk about the respect thing in regards to Jonathan Taylor. And, all the stuff going on with his agent and holding out. He's not holding out, he's injured at the beginning of the season. It's like, yeah, that still gets in my mouth a little bit. But let's move on, because it's depressing. Okay, I will say, one man that just it knocks me sick every time I see him in the Lucas Oil Stadium, and I'd love to bump into him just to tell him what I really think of him, and that's Adam Schefter. Every time I see him in Lucas Oil Stadium and he just sat there and he's chatting, I'm like, he's just a fucking scumbag, and he should be chased out of there faster than Ryan Grigson for ruining Andrew Luck legacy. Like, I saw that today, and it just I had to get it off my chest, because I'm like, what a worm! What an absolute worm of a human being. But the Super Bowl, before we leave with the combine and the draft, the Super Bowl. We had a Kansas City fan and a Philadelphia Eagles fan on before. The Kansas City fan, I forgot his name, Neil, I believe, was very confident of a Kansas City win. Nathan, you stayed up to watch the Super Bowl. Was it just a nice win?
I think Neil probably went to bed early. I certainly would have. Yeah, I think Kansas turned up about as confident as he was. They looked completely unwilling to battle. I think they all, got off the plane and went, "We're doing this. We're three-peating. No one can stop us." And I mean, they didn't get stopped; they got stomped on. It was
Mm-hmm.
it was a destruction, which was great to watch too. It was an excellent game of football and such a dominant game by Philadelphia. Uh, yeah, does that answer it? I'm trying to be polite and respectful, but yeah, Kansas didn't turn up, and I'm sure they'll be back next year.
Well, I think Pat McAfee said it the best when he sort of had the same vibe after. Oh, God, I'm bringing up old scars now, but after the New Orleans Super Bowl, he was like, "Well, we'll just run it back." Like, but it's never just as because American football is so finite and it's win and in or win and gone. It's teams just can't run it back. I know. Yeah, they were going to three-peat and they have run it back before, but it's okay saying that. I'm trying to think of how the best way to put it. But when a team has inevitability around them of an aura, and that I think has been absolutely shattered and obliterated by Nick Sirianni and the Eagles. I think teams are going to come to play Kansas City in a different light, and I think they should. Like, there seems to be this thing in sports at the minute where you have to respect the opposition, and you have to be sensible and respect. No, I'm not coming here to be a mate. I'm not coming here to get along with Travis Kelce. Like, why do I care? And yeah, it's just mental to me that like teams are crying to stop the rugby scrum that the Eagles run. I'm just like, it's not that hard to stop that play. You just run a scrum in the other direction, like.
Yeah, we've been doing it for years.
Yeah, it's literally. I'm just like, I'm struggling to see how, like, probably one of the most complex scheming sports in the world looks at that play and goes, I don't know how to stop it. I just don't get it. It's baffling to me. No, so the combine and the draft. I can't say I sit here and watch every minute of the combine, or I can't say I sit here and watch every minute of the draft, to be honest, either. It's, as Colts fans, it's sort of sleepy time and relax, and as summer's coming and the days are getting longer and warmer, and it's time to start having beers in the garden outside at 6 p.m. and watching beautiful sunsets. It's like the land of the Shire. But are you excited? Do you get excited for the combine and draft? Is it, or is it just? Are we just at the point as Colts fans where it's like anything will do, a warm body?
Yeah, I must admit I do love the combine and I love the draft even more because I think it just gives us like, it's like when you're really thirsty and someone gives you a drink, because like the season's over, we've got to wait like 160 odd or 140 odd days, and then it's just like even just seeing the logo, and seeing Daniel Jeremiah and people like that. I'm like, yes, my love is back for like 4 hours, and then it disappears again. No, the combine I think is of course more interesting when you're a team that needs skill position players. It was fascinating 2 years ago when we really felt like Indy was going to take a quarterback. Last year it was interesting when you kind of didn't really know where Indy was going to go.
Yeah.
The draft for Indianapolis is fascinating because the more, the more you read into it. Like I was listening to a podcast earlier, walking my dog, and Lance Zierlein was a guest on there, and he was describing the draft as like, an overall C grade. After like the 60th kind of player, it really drops off in terms of talent. So, I've seen a mock draft where we trade back with the Chargers and pick up 2 first-round picks. Yeah, I pulled that face as well.
No.
But I'm thinking, if Tyler Warren's gone, if Malachi Starks is gone, I think I'd be all right with trading back, and getting 2 first-round players instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the sad part, because we've become so accepting of that. So I do agree with your point. As a Colts fan, you can kind of go to bed at 10 p.m. and when you wake up, you're probably seeing some trade activity. Other franchises, it must not feel like that.
I look, and I've got a couple of questions for you at the end, but I look at Howie Roseman, and I just think Chris Ballard cannot trade back this draft. I think he'll be run out of Indianapolis quicker than Grigson if he does trade back this draft, especially if Warren or we put in the group chat how the Colts have interviewed Genty. Not that I never think we'd go for him or he'll ever get out of the top 10, but if he was somehow dropped or someone dropped and the Colts didn't, and Chris Ballard traded back, and he's like, and then afterwards he sat there with his little sip cup of yogurt or whatever he's got, and he's like, we just went with the best player available, and it's a oil lime. I think there will be riots in Indianapolis, but I think you're right. And listen, it's not that I am against trading back. We can't anymore. And I think I'm just at the point, like in like the war film, the action war films where they're being pushed back to the cliff, and it's like, okay, we'll trade back again, and it's another step back. And then one guy goes, I've got a plan. Let's do this. And that plan is Tyler Warren. It realistically should have been Brock Bowers last year, but yeah, we're here taking, well, I'm taking Tyler Warren. People might feel differently. I don't hate other picks that I've seen, but like you said, mate, there's 2 tight ends we need. And I think what would be a good video to do, I personally think we need 1 running back, 2 tight ends, a couple of oil linemen, 1 wide receiver, a backup QB. That's just the offense. On the defense, we need linebackers, safeties, corners, probably an interior D lineman. And then we probably need I don't think we're going to get one or go out and get one, but we probably need a kicker as well. This is not a fix a roster with 7 guys sort of off season for the Colts.
Oh no. We need to see free agents come in. We definitely need a veteran corner or safety, just to take over that room really from a leadership point of view and an experience point of view. We're going from the most vanilla defense in the league to having the mad scientist as our defensive coordinator. So guys are gonna have to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable and having to play multiple positions. And I think I'm really excited for Latu next year. I think Lou's going to be doing a lot with him. We're going to be seeing him in different positions across the line. Can't wait for that. But yeah, it's interesting, and I'd like Chris to be more aggressive than ever. Trade back into the second, trade back into the third. Let's go get some some day one players, because
Yeah.
you're exactly right. 7 draft picks are not going to fix this team.
Would you? So I can't exactly give you names because I've like this has just popped into my head. But would you trade Quitty Pay for a veteran corner? And like I say, I'm not going to say you're not getting a guaranteed. I can't even think of a name off the top of my head right now. But you're not getting like a guaranteed top 10 corner, just a solid 7.5 veteran guy. Would you trade Quitty Pay today?
Yeah, absolutely. Quitty's due money. He's probably due a little bit of a bag too. A first round draft pick. He's had a decent career. Obviously, very very hurt in his time in the NFL right now, and I don't want to be anywhere near that contract. I mean, we need to be so much better at edge than we are, and I
Yeah.
don't think Quitty takes us forward in that direction. And you think if I really don't want to be negative. Like I love
Yeah.
this team, but it I think we're a bad team right now, and if we're going to be at the top of drafts for a few years, we can get edge rushers there. That's
Yeah.
the best place to go find, Pro Bowl edge rushers is the top 5 picks of the draft. Look at the Titans are going to get one this year. We have to defend them twice a week, twice a season.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting position, but I don't think we as fans could be mad if we see Ballard literally do an all defensive draft. I think that's an option as well. Like, yes, we're all in love with Tyler, we're all in love with Colson Loveland, we're in love with Lyman, whatever. But if on draft weekend Chris drafts 7 defensive players, I won't blame the guy. But he needs to spend in free agency on tight end.
Yeah. And it's just about getting who you need. And I think, like you say, that the Eagles have done this fantastically.
Yep.
And, a few years ago, I think even especially when they took Jalen Hurts, there were calls for Harry Roseman's head. Howie Roseman's head.
Yep.
But we've all seen the clip online of the Giants, like the New York Giants, thinking, "Oh, nobody will pick up Saquon for that. He's stupid," and he's just gone. My team needs a running back. Saquon Barkley. Yep, fuck it, I'll take him.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not rocket science. Sometimes the answer's staring you right in your eyes. You don't have to look at all your scouting reports and listening to all the reports and doing all the meetings, because that's really simple and it's easy to make. And I'm not Chris Ballard, right? But if Tyler Warren's there at 15, you just take him. You don't overthink it. You don't trade back. You don't try and go and get someone else because you see raw potential in the guy. You just take it. You just take that guy. And I think this is, although probably his hardest off season for Chris Ballard, I think it's his easiest draft. And hey, I'm with you with the defensive thing if he takes Tyler Warren in the first round. And I'm happy with that.
So I'm of a different or I'd go a different route, right? If I'm Ballard, I'm calling the Saints. They pick at 9 overall, and I'm trading up for Tyler Warren. I'm doing
you
what
don't
it
think
takes.
He falls?
Sorry?
You don't think he falls 15?
I think there's definitely a risk that he doesn't make it to 14. No, we're picking up 14, so
yeah,
I don't think I think there's a risk he doesn't make it. People, draft analysts and stuff, mate, that are really saying that, Ash and Gene T, Warren, they're like the best players in the draft, the best prospects in the draft. And, New Orleans, again, is a team that really needs an offensive injection.
Yeah.
Chris Olave, bless him, he's had 2 concussions last year. Is he even gonna, want to play football anymore? I think he's had 4 or 5 concussions in his young career, so they could lose, a star wide out. I mean, his questions are quarterback with New Orleans, but that's what I would be doing. I would just flip, trade first and maybe flip them a player. They need to get younger as well, so that's what I would be doing. But as you say, we're not Ballard. We're not fighting for our jobs.
So just a couple of questions then to round out after that exclusive that you've given us that the Colts are trading up to 9. You heard it here first. I liked when you put in the grief about Ashton Jennings. I just felt like putting out there our expert draft writer Nathan says Ashton Jennings to the Colts at 14.
Look, I think you're gonna kill me for this. Many fans are gonna kill me for this. Because I'm staying up, right? I'm staying up for it.
Yeah. We all are.
If Ashton Jeanty is picked, I'm gonna be so excited by it. I'm not gonna be mad at all, because you look at Detroit, right? The way they run the ball is absolutely outstanding, and Jeanty just looks like he can do what Jahmyr Gibbs is doing. And it also gives us the opportunity to flip Taylor and save a whole bunch of cap again. I'm not advocating for flipping JT. I'd like to have them both on the team. And it's criminal. If he takes a running back, it's criminal. It's such a criminal pick when you've got the worst defense in football. But I will just be it'll be fascinating to think of what we can do next year with that backfield.
We'll definitely do some more, because everyone's mock draft every possibility. We know that, because then when the draft comes and that one possibility that comes up, that one person can say, I've predicted this. And it's like, well, you also predicted 52 other options. You've not predicted it at all. You just put out a possible option. So we'll do the same, because it's content. So the questions I've sort of been toying with in my head is, would we be better off? Is a sort of theme. And I'm looking at it. So we look at the big 3 coaches. Well, sorry, no. The last time the Colts were good, it was Frank Reich, Matt Eberflus, and Nick Sirianni. 2018, if I'm getting my years right. God, it's 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time, man. It's been a long purgatorious period, hasn't it?
So that's half a decade of just being absolutely below par, and I'll keep it friendly. So my questions was, and you'll get the theme, would we be better off with Nick Sirianni as our head coach right now? Not as in he's taking over today, as in instead of Shane Steichen.
I like Nick. Nick's a good coach. He often has had problems, I think, putting his ego above the team, especially in press conferences. He's taken a lot of heat for that, league-wide. For that reason, I'm going to say no. I think Philadelphia's roster is so much better than Indy's. And I think that wins them more games than, probably Nick's play calling does.
Yeah.
But he had to abandon play calling responsibilities, didn't he? So, no, I still stand by it. Shane was one of my top 2 candidates for the job. When he got the job, I was absolutely ecstatic about it. And I still truly don't believe we've seen the playbook at 100%.
Okay. Do you think we would have been better off promoting Matt Eberflus
To head coach?
Yeah, and right. Listen, I know this is easy in hindsight to say, look at what happened in Chicago, but if you just take that 2018 season and it was like, right, you can have one of these three as your head coach. I'm trying to sort of like gauge. Again, this is a hard question to do in hindsight when you've not done a prediction, but do you think a better fit, we would have been better?
I think we would have been a different kind of better because I think our defense is just so much, would have been so much more well coached. I think Anthony Walker would have been re-signed. There's no way he would have left Lucas Oil. And, I miss that guy so much. How they chose EJ over him is still criminal. There's probably about 10 million in it. What a regret that is.
And Bobby O.
Exactly. Bobby O, I think, still playing in blue as well. I think, we would have drafted differently over the 6 years as well. So we would be a different team, I think. And we would be in a completely different trajectory. We probably, we're probably, supporting a team that's led by someone like Flacco, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, that sort of, aging star that we've become so accustomed to, because I think defensively we would have been so much better. So I'm really happy with that answer. I don't know if overall we would be better. I think we'd be a different kind of team that potentially is better on one side of the ball than it is now.
And last one, let's say we can rewind the clock on just Frank Reich alone, and nobody know much about him, and he's just been an assistant coach everywhere he's gone. Would we be better with Frank Reich, who just came into the Colts now, than we are with Shane Steichen? Because the end of Frank Reich's career, it's easy to say no because it all gone to shit. But when he first come in, he was just different.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough to answer. That's a great question. I wish I had time to prepare for it.
We can leave it till next week if you want. If you want to.
Yeah, I think we do, because it's hard. It's hard to be encapsulated by Andrew, right?
Yeah.
Andrew is just like the best thing to happen to us in the last 15 years. So, Andrew versus Anthony is definitely not, even comparable in the same stratosphere. Yeah, I'd love to prepare for that question.
Okay.
I feel like it's easy to say yes and it's easy to say no, and it would probably make a great debate on an episode.
Excellent. We'll leave that till next week. Then you've had a preview of the next episode. Nathan, have you got anything?
No, just please, it's like we say, it's combine season, it's draft season. Please engage with us if you feel so kind to. Let us know, who you want the Colts to pick. Whose name do you want to see held up 14, and how sad will you be if we just trade back again? Are you in the same club as us, or are you team trade up? And be some interesting conversation over the next few weeks.
Yeah, so that's something I wanted to bring up just to end out the show. Our socials going forward. I believe you're the same, Nathan. No longer on X. Personal reason, I don't believe in funding a fucking Nazi, to be honest, and someone who designs shite cars. So me and Nathan are personally off X. I'm on Blue Sky at ukcoltsfans.bluesky.social, and Fred, you can find our UK Colts fans page. And on Patreon, again, the Patreon's free. I know a lot of people think you have to pay. It's not. It's free content because it's easier to connect with more fans that way. Nathan, where are you at? Where can people find you?
So I still need to set up my Blue Sky. So I'll make sure that's all ready to go next week. And I think for now, you'll find me on the Patreon. We've got, a lot of articles planned now that the Patreon's kind of, there. I think we've got a nice place we can put more regular written content for you guys. And, I loved Harrison's spin on, commute content, quick, easy to read. So, yeah, you'll absolutely find us there. And I need to join the Blue Sky party. I really do.
So look out for that. Like I say, Elliot is still an X running the UK Colts fans page because we understand everyone has different opinions on things, and that's fine. And he and us, we built up our following on there, so it has been hard to transfer off there when a lot of the community was on there. But we're always on YouTube, and like I say, thank you to everyone watching. Even watching now, you've made it an hour and 10. Hopefully we've made your day a little bit brighter. It's been a bit of a tough season recap, but there is stuff to look forward to. Couple of players going into contract years, so we know what happens then. Anthony's fighting for his career, and so is Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen, and Olu Anarumu. So Nathan, thanks for joining. Everyone, thanks for watching. We've been the UK Colts fans, and see you all probably next Thursday. Oh, that was it. Sorry. One last thing. I can never hard exit. I hate it. There's a reason I voted Remain. But one last thing. I believe Robbie's article about the tight end room should be out tomorrow night. So that will be posted all over. Read it and feedback. Goodbye.